how you're going to move your slides,
Okay.
right?
Thank you.
Good.
How you doing?
Bad.
All right,
No,
you're good.
I'm so stressed.
Just like you got all your friends sitting
Yeah,
here.
and they're gonna make
They're
a mess.
stressing you out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you just want to use the podium mic for your presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. You good? You ready?
I don't know. I guess it's not like I can say no.
Okay, there you go. Just take a deep breath.
Can I move this a bit to the side
Yeah.
so I can have my computer up front?
You want to square it up a little bit? So
Yeah.
all right, you good? Okay, everybody. Check. There we go. Please welcome Madalena.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maddie, and as you might or might not know, I'm Italian. And yes, my capstone is about food. Big shocker, right? Italian and food. Well, let me begin with telling you a very short story to explain. About 9 months ago, like probably some of you sitting in the audience, I decided to fly to a place that I only had seen through a screen. Did I know what to expect? Not really, but it didn't really matter. And now that my experience is almost over, I can say that I couldn't have hoped for anything better. This place has given me feelings and memories that I'll keep in my heart forever, alongside with the amazing people I met. But let me also tell you that the food here was a shock for me. I'm not here to argue whether it was better, worse, even, well, we all kind of know that Italians do it best, but I'm here to say that I realized, I knew it was gonna be different, but I never realized how much it would have impacted my body, my mentality, or my days in general. Truth is, I believe that every foreign student, at some point, at least once in his or her journey, has missed food from home. So let's start with some general data about mental health. According to the CDC, teenage mental health in the United States is on the decline. The CDC Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance Data and Summary and Trends Report from 2011 to 2021 found out that in 2021, more than 4 in 10 kids, meaning 42% of students more or less, were persistently sad or hopeless. And nearly 1/3 of students, meaning 29%, experienced poor mental health. Also in 2021, Johnsbury of San Diego University found out that school loneliness increased between 2012 and 2018 in 36 out of 37 countries. Worldwide, nearly as many adolescents, it's twice as many adolescents in 2018 compared to 2012 had elevated levels of school loneliness. Of those, more were girls, less boys, and we can say that loneliness was strongly connected with increasing usage of social media. Talking about problems with school, we all know the transition from middle school to high school is a challenging one, whether a teen relocates to a new community around the world or just down the street. A 2017 article in the Journal of Youth Adolescence states that there is evidence that students have an increase in stress, loneliness, depression, and anxiety as they move to high school, or in our case, from their own high school to high school around the world. It is important to understand this kind of problems these students go through, because it is at high school that academic performance becomes both more visible and more high stakes, and it matters more in life. Increasing school belonging is also linked to increasing school engagement across high school transition, meaning that supportive relationship with friends and educators are positively linked with adolescents' academic success. When analyzing this data about mental health, I realized that as much as I wanted to, one capstone and one research cannot solve all of these problems. So I decided to focus on one in specific, homesickness. So now let's talk about some data about homesickness, a feeling that I personally am really related to since I moved here, as I told you, in August 2022. According to UCLA Higher Education Research Survey, over 71% of students who moved abroad for their studies have suffered at least once in their journey from homesickness. This means that our campus, there are more or less 200 dorm students, 142 of them have felt this feeling. Also, as Shirley Fisher at the University of Dundee, Scotland, added that this same group reported a higher incidence of non-traumatic elements during the year and more days off of school. As one of the students that experienced discomfort more than once during my journey, I have to admit, I decided to try to help to heal that feeling through food. Now I want to give a little disclaimer before I start talking about food. This can help, as I'll show you and explain later, but it's not an actual cure. For people who feel consistently sad or hopeless during their journey, there are so many resources on campus. There's advisor counselors who are always ready to help. But let's go back to food. Why food? Well, as I told you before, food is not just about getting the fuel we need to survive into our body. It's about eating, it's about the experience. What mostly impacts my research and its outcome is that food is strongly connected with our brain. Studies published in the journals of Appetite and Frontier in Psychology, for example, help explain the relationship between food and memories. Appetite Journal found out that food-related memories were more vivid and emotional than memories triggered by other senses. Participants were more likely to recall specific events and details when their memory were associated with food. And the memories were rated as more pleasant than memories triggered by other senses. Frontiers in Psychology, on the other hand, discuss how food can trigger memories and emotion, highlighting the role in the brain and of the olfactory bulb in processing smells, and its close connection to the limbic system, which is in the picture, which is involved in emotions and memories. So in other words, we can say that what we eat helps us connect with our memories, giving, in our case, to foreign students that are studying abroad, a chance to remember good things from home. Another study published in the journal Chemical senses that the smell of food, certain foods in particular, can trigger memories of past experiences. The study found that the participants were able to recall more specific memories when they were exposed to the scent or taste of a food they had already previously eaten, compared to a control scent. This is why my research and my outcome is based mainly on homemade food, because something we've already tried helps us remember home more, and we can connect with that. The idea of using traditional food to help alleviate homesickness is not new. Research has shown that food can be a powerful tool in evoking emotions and memories, as I said. A study conducted from the University of California found that the food is a powerful trigger for memories because it involves many sensory cues, such as taste, smell, and texture. When people eat a dish that reminds them of home, they can feel connected to their roots. They feel like they're home. Additionally, traditional food can also be a way for individuals not only to connect with their homes, but also to connect with others from their home country. When people share a meal, they are not only sharing food, but they're also sharing their culture and stories. It can create a sense of community, which is essential for people who are far away from home. Food can also help students connect from different cultures. According to the Culture Mastery LLC, food and drink are as much representation of cultures as are arts, architectures, attire, and human behavior. Participant learning explains how cooking and eating together nourishes both body and the spirit, and its tangible expression of the way we care and love of people. According to the East Coast Polytechnic Institute of Culinary Arts, not only sharing a meal can be good for our mind and bodies, but also cooking it together. Learning how to prepare food can improve people's life in many ways. Through cooking, students can share new techniques as well as their views on cooking as an art form. Tasting food from other cultures builds cultural appreciation and empathy. It also promotes nutrition and can open doors to career paths for those who develop a real passion for it. Cooking can also be a stress reliever, teach teens how to prepare meals with a budget and on their own, which is not always easy, and can build confidence and creativity. This idea already existed in cities and schools around the country. Smithsonian reports that in 2020, there were more than 44 million immigrants living in the US, a number that represents the 13.6% of the total population. That percentage has nearly tripled since 1970. New York City's The League of Kitchens launched in 2013, in which small groups gather in their homes of immigrant women to learn how to make regional dishes and about their culture in the process. The organization has since hosted more than 1,000 meals, runs about 16 to 20 workshops per month, and employs 12 instructors from countries like Lebanon, India, and Nepal. Soon, similar workshops started springing around in other cities, such as Los Angeles and Seattle. There are also many organizations and individuals who have already started using traditional food to help alleviate homesickness among students. For example, a nonprofit organization called the Comfort Food Project was started by a chef in the United States. This chef wanted to help international students feel more at home. The organization provides free meals to students that are traditional dishes from their home countries. The initiative has been successful in creating a sense of community among those students and helping them to adjust to a life in a new country. So in the beginning of the presentation, I said I wanted to help those who needed a little comfort to remember home. That's how the idea of a Taste of Home Club was born, my outcome idea. It all started with a late night talk between a couple of dorm students and Mr. Jones. And it then became the interview on which I based my whole capstone. Mr. Jones, who has been a proctor at the Academy for 7 years, explained to me how much he realized how important food is for those students who don't see their countries for months. He said, quote, that above all, food is connection. Because food is connection. Food is connection between people. It's connection between memories. It's connection between places. Given my topic, I then decided to interview Chef Ao, whose experience with food and previous clubs helped me to get my finished project. Chef Ao also gave me what I call my realization thought on this capstone, because he looked at me in the eyes and asked me what was the food I most missed from home. And it didn't say a random food that would come to your mind probably when I say Italian culture, but I said my grandma's tomato sauce. And this is important for me because it wasn't about the sauce that I really cared about. It's because it brings up memories. It brings up those really hot summers in which I used to cook with my grandparents and my brother and make this sauce. It reminds me of my grandparents themselves and all of the dinners we used to have. At the end of this thought, I came up with a club. This club is designed so that people can meet 2 or 3 times a month, and on the reservation, a group of those people decides the dish that they will be cooking during that session. Every session of the club will last 2 days. The first one will consist in students going by the ingredients they want to cook that meal. Keep in mind that we're not home, so as much as we try to get closer to a result you actually want, you'll never get the exact same results. We don't have these exact same ingredients. The other day will consist in cooking the meal we chose in South Church basement, where the kitchen is. But that doesn't stop there. I told you that what mostly impacts the research, it's not only the food, it's sharing the food. So once the food will be ready, these people will have a table where they can eat all together. And while eating, they'll remember home and their family, but I also believe they realize they found a new family here, a family in campus that they can always count on. The people participating, I hope to be around 10 people per group, because a large number would be messy in the kitchen, as Chef Ao told me. And these 10 people could be all from the same culture, or they could ask someone else to join them. And here it's important to remind all of you that food as people is very different from culture, and we need to keep in mind that while trying new food. That gives us no excuse to insult or say we don't like a certain food, because that will ruin other people's experience. But we try what they gave us. At the end of all of this, I wanted to, first of all, thank Mr. Jones, who was probably the reason I did this capstone and gave me the main idea. Chef Ao, for giving me precious information about a previous club he also did that helped me remodel mine so that it could work better. And Ms. Minthius for helping me through the building of my capstone. And the end of this, I wanted to tell you that what was my main goal with my capstone was to help somebody. And to help somebody, I tried to go Africa to help kids. I tried to talk about a futuristic economic system that would help the world. But I realized those were too broad topics, and you don't need to go that far to help people. I could help people right here on campus. And that's how I wanted to make the difference, and I hope I did. So yes, in the end, it's still me. I'm Italian, I love food, and I hope that during this presentation you realized food is not just about eating, but it's about the experience that comes with it. Thank you.
Okay, questions are ready.
You may have said this, but are you going to try to do at least one meeting with the club before the end of school?
So I talked to Mr. Alcori, who brings the new club's idea to the student government to get them approved. And he told me that given, like, it's 1 month till the end of school, so that's too short a time. But the club will be proposed at the end of the school so that it could be up and running from September if it gets approved.
Do you think you can talk Chef Hale into getting ingredients to try to make grandma's sauce?
He told me that tomatoes here are imported from California, so it wouldn't taste the same. I did. I tried.
You might have said this. I probably didn't hear. Do you have a favorite food that makes you think of home specifically?
I mean, I feel like my whole idea of food, like I realized this while I was here, my whole idea of food and of my food, it's not really the eating part, but it's the fact that I sit with my family 3 times a day, every day, and I eat with them. So that's what I wanted to remember, and that's why I said my grandma's sauce, because we're always late, because we all have busy schedules, but we keep that time for ourselves and our family. And so since we have such a short time, my grandma's sauce is the first thing we usually can reach, and just put it in pasta and it's done. And it's really great, so that's why I said that.
Great. One more hand for Manny.